I definitely have days that it gets harder and harder to do this. And it's not hard because it's hard to find the theme or the trope of an episode. It's not hard to find the positive message that I want to say. It's just hard some days. One, because editing really sucks. And I go through sometimes several drafts where I get hit with a copyright because I'm trying to do some B-roll, something creative for y'all. Doesn't work out that well. And then two, it sucks because I am actively dealing with depression, and I just have those days where I can't. It's hard to give all this wonderful advice if you're not following the advice yourself. So I try to stick to that and follow the advice. Do what you say. But the one thing I vehemently oppose is giving up. Hello, Governor. This is Rakai Steed, New from the Ville, and I'm here to talk to you about Doctor Who, Season 7, Episode 6. Now, we are fresh off the heels of the devastating loss of Amy and Rory, and I don't know if I'm over that yet. Like, we were with Amy and Rory for 2.5 seasons and got very used to their presence and the bond that they had, not only with each other, but with the Doctor. Now, we're in Victorian London, and the Doctor has retired. He is so heartbroken from the loss of Rory and Amy that he said, you know what, I'm not doing it anymore. And we are lucky to have the Paternoster gang here. So we have Vastra, we have Jenny, and we have Strax. They are working a case where snowmen are being animated and they're turning into real life monsters. There's a dude named Dr. Simeon who, when he was a kid, he was approached by one of these snowmen. They're actually aliens. But the problem is they have the problem that all snowmen have, that they melt. So all this time, they've been working with Dr. Simeon trying to figure out a way to not melt. Turns out we're introduced to a house where the governess, which is basically a fancy word for nanny, she fell in a pond and she froze to death, and she's been frozen under the pond. Everything above it is frozen over. So a new governess is hired, a woman named Clara. Clara finds Lady Vastra and comes to her for help. And Vastra tells her, you only get one word. You write a note, you got one word to impress the Doctor. And on the note, she writes the word pond, which of course that piques the Doctor's interest. The Doctor ends up visiting the Latimer family and finds out about the governess frozen in a pond, and also finds out that Dr. Simeon is controlling the snowmen. And what they're trying to do is get the old governess out of the pond to use her body as the DNA blueprint for how not to freeze. They want to be pretty much the same as Blade is the Daywalker. They want to be Daywalkers. They want to walk in the sun and eat people too. The pond is unfrozen. The old governess, the ice woman, she breaks into the house. The Doctor's there to save Clara. And Clara happens to be mortally wounded by the ice governess. But the ice governess, her body is destroyed, is shattered, before Simeon can get the blueprint. The Doctor had something inside of his TARDIS called a memory worm, and you had to handle it with special gloves. And he tricks Dr. Simeon into grabbing, or the worm latching on to Dr. Simeon. And the thing with the memory worm is it causes you to forget. And the longer it's latched onto you, the longer you forget. So if you touch it for a second, you only forget like a couple seconds worth of stuff. But if it's onto you for a long time, you might forget your entire life. It latches on to Dr. Simeon. He forgets everything. Dr. Simeon seemingly passes away, or he has no memory, but it doesn't matter because the great intelligence takes over Dr. Simeon's body. And now the Doctor has a new nemesis to fight. At the funeral, someone reads the Doctor reads Clara's full name on her tombstone. And wait a minute, what? It says Clara Oswald. What? Wasn't Oswin the name of the woman that we met in the first episode of Silent of the Daleks, who eventually got turned into a Dalek? She was making souffles? Yeah, her name was Oswin. And if you were watching, that is the same person. But it's not, because how she get turned into a Dalek, how she get wounded and killed here, what is going on? Since a person dying twice is impossible, the doctor has to figure out what is going on. You know that I like my quotes, so I got one for you today. This is from Thomas Edison. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. The most certain way to succeed is to always try just one more time. My name is giving up because that's what we saw in the doctor, and I understand it's hard, or actually it's easy to want to give up when you're heartbroken. When you're heartbroken, it means that you feel so overwhelmed by the pain of a breakup that you lose the motivation to try to heal or to move on. Because those are both things that you need to do. You need to try to heal, and you need to try to move on. And both those things prove to be extremely difficult. And when you get like that, it can lead to a state of apathy or resignation. And you could actively stop engaging in self-care or seeking the support for the emotions that you're trying to deal with on your own, which is never a good thing. Now, when you're heartbroken and when you feel like giving up, you might suffer from emotional exhaustion. You go through behaviors where you avoid stuff. I've gotten like that where I'm in the house. I'm not going out. Don't want to go out. Don't want to be bothered. Leave me alone. It's very easy to talk negative to yourself. You try to figure out what you could have done better or why this was your fault. And it may not be any of that. And then the lack of self-care. And it can happen. It can happen to the best of them. That was one of the ways that I found out about that I was depressed. I didn't know that that was a symptom of depression. Just got to the point where you just don't care. Even though it's hard, it's difficult to heal, you have to allow yourself to grieve and then actively work through the pain for eventual healing. They say time heals all. And sometimes you just figure you don't have the time. I don't want the time. It takes too damn long. One of the other things about avoiding giving up is the impact that it'll have on your mental health. Sometimes you can bring on even worse feelings of depression and anxiety, and it makes it harder for you to cope with daily life. Here's a few tips. Here's a few things you can do instead of giving up. Acknowledge your feelings. Think about, talk about, write it down, how you're feeling, and how do you want to feel. Put some positivity on that. You may feel like the lowest of the low. But do you want to stay like that, or do you want to start feeling better? Write it down and have that be a goal that you can work towards. You have to seek support. Sometimes it's hard to talk about this to your friends because you feel like a sucker. You feel like other people just don't understand, or you're talking to them just to be a sounding board, but they want to try to solve your problems with some bullshit. If you can, seek a therapist to help you work through it. You have to practice self-care. Get good sleep. Not just sleep the entire day away because you don't want to deal with what's going on while you're awake, but get good sleep. Try to eat better. Try to work out. Work on you. You focus on your personal growth. People said it to me before and it sounds like bullshit. Sounds like bullshit, but it's right. Work on you. Make a better version of you. Not for that other person, but for you. And then while you're trying to heal, you need to set boundaries. Not only with that ex or with that situation that you was with, but set boundaries on other things in your life to help you heal. The doctor was heartbroken. He lost his parents-in-laws. He lost two of his best friends. And at this point, he's lost so many companions that he's tired of it. But he has a greater purpose and he has to go on. And fortunately enough, the mystery of who was Clara was enough to bring him out of his funk and give him a reason to keep pushing forward. We can only be so lucky if we can get that. I'm not trying to be super wise. I just want to tell you that I've been there. And it seems easy to give up, but that's not what you want to do. Do not give up. It does get better. If you can't find someone to talk to, there's 1-800 numbers, there's emails, there's websites. Find someone, a coach at your church, a teacher, coworker, hopefully a friend or a family member. Find someone to talk to. This is Rakai Steed, Noob from the Ville. Make sure that you like, comment, share this as much as possible. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. You know what you're doing. Hit the little button. Hit wherever it's at. It's over here. So I don't know. Hit it. Subscribe. Whatever you're doing, use this. But don't forget to use this.